Stuart, how's the squad looking? Stephen O'Donnell update, is he going to make it?
No, he won't make it. Again, probably can't put a timescale on it for you, but he'll definitely not be available for Sunday, which is a shame, because he's always been available, I think, since the day and minute that I walked in the door here. So bad timing on that front. Doesn't matter when that comes, you're losing a good player and good experience. He won't make it. A wee bit of the walking wounded with one or two others. Nothing that I think will keep anybody out of the game, but just a couple of wee tidy ups, couple of bangs, couple of dead legs, and one or two other wee issues. But we get the extra day, I suppose, with the game being on the Sunday to make sure that that's tidied up. And I would envisage that Stephen comes out and that we get to add Liam Gordon and Tony Watt to the squad.
What's the overriding feeling heading into an occasion like this?
Not a great deal different for us, for the football side of things, from any other game. I try and speak about that all the time, that we want to try and have a group of players that are climbing the walls to play any game of football. I think if we can do that, we'll show that our motivation's always very, very good. But you know, I think where the extra excitement comes from is the community in the area, getting to go to Hampden and taking the big numbers that I think that we've already sold. I think we're up close to 8,000 now for tickets sold for our allocation, which I think is unbelievable. So there's a lot of excitement for that side. We have to approach it like another game of football. And the only wee twist and the only wee change in it is, we always talk about this old analogy of it being cup competition, the one-off game. We have to go and try and create an exciting game of football. We have to go and try and disrupt the flow of Rangers. Similar to Celtic on Sunday, you understand a lot of the time that they'll have bits of control in certain areas of the pitch. But the one thing I think we've always been against Rangers in my time is a goal threat. I think we've always carried that threat at the top end of the pitch. And we have to go and make sure that that's in there in the game, that there's an exciting cup tie to be had. That's what my mindset is. You know, we don't want to just sit in, camp in and just allow the opposition onto us. We need to go and make sure at times that we can get on the front foot and create opportunities and see whether our quality is good enough on the day to take one or two of them. When we were fortunate enough to beat Rangers at Ibrox last season, I thought we carried a huge threat. I thought we were very, very composed in the ball at times, and I thought that we defended our box and rode our luck a wee bit at times as well. So it's kind of the three facets, the three aspects of the game that I believe you need to be good at to get a result, and I believe we're going to need that again on Sunday.
You know how it works here. There's so much noise when Rangers have results like they've had recently. Does that impact the football match in any way for you? Not at all,
not at all. You're right, I've born and bred in sort of West Central Scotland, so I understand this. I've been brought up with, you know, people being disgruntled when they feel that their team's maybe not playing too well, and the expectation that comes on a club like Rangers. Never played for them, never worked for them, but yeah, I've heard plenty of it over the last 40 years. But the way that I look at it is that I just still see them as a top football club. I believe, I think back to earlier in the season at Hampden, obviously ironically we played them at Hampden in the league game. There was a spell for 30-35 minutes where I thought they were electric, and I know that that's what they're absolutely capable of. So we prepare for that. We make sure that that's a thing that's in our head. You talk about two football clubs that have rebuilt. You know, I know that's been mentioned a lot with Rangers by the number of players that have went out and the number of players that have come in. Well, I think we can rival that. I think we can sort of match that. And the big difference comes that, you know, Rangers spend millions on players and we look for free agents and we look into the loan market very simply. And, you know, that's not mind games for me at all. That's just the harsh reality of it. That's just what the reality of the situation is. But that doesn't mean to say that we don't believe in ourselves and that we don't believe that we can go there and cause some sort of upset. And again, contrary to what a lot of people think, from what I'm led to believe, for Motherwell to try and progress in this competition, I believe would be a huge upset. I think Rangers would be massive favourites by the size of the football club and the investment. They would be huge favourites to beat Motherwell. But we don't tell ourselves that. We don't think along those terms. We want to try and show our best version on Sunday and see where that takes us.
Does it present you with a bigger opportunity to try and exploit off-field issues, or whether it's Rangers, Celtic, St Johnstone, whoever it might be?
I genuinely don't think about it, Jane. I genuinely don't think about anything like that at all. It's not my place to think about that. You know, because if I start doing that I believe that's me scrutinising other football clubs. That's me scrutinising other managers and other players. I've got way too much respect for Rangers as a football club and the manager and the group of players there to start doing that. My focus needs to be on trying to get the best version of my players, but that doesn't matter if it's a league game, a semi-final or anything. That's how I go about it all the time. I don't sit here in front of you to try and tell you or show you that I'm the most humble guy in the world and the most humble guy about, but that's genuinely what I try to be as much as I possibly can. Show everybody respect, including my own players, my own football club, and I genuinely believe that if you do that and you work hard, then you can get success, and that's how I approach everything, as opposed to sort of mudslinging and trying to pass comment in other situations.
With Stephen O'Donnell being out, do we presume that Lennon Miller will once again be handed the captain's armband? And if so, just obviously as an 18-year-old, added responsibility, but actually could that bring out even more, if that's possible, in that player, a real chance for him to shine? Yeah, listen,
a real easy one for me to tell you that providing any kind of disaster or anything like that at all, Lennon will captain the side on Sunday. Lennon got the armband on Wednesday. There's a number of factors. You know, you talk about how well you perform. You talk about leaders as in do as I do, or as I say, or whatever. But you know, he maybe not the loudest voice in there, but his level of performance, I believe, leads other players. I believe at times some of what he does on a football pitch can be an inspiration to others, even at that young age, even at that tender age. So yeah, easy one for me to tell you that he's going to captain the side on Sunday, because he plays for us. You guys won't have to think too hard about that. Rangers won't have to think too hard about that. He'll play for us, and he generally gets through 90 minutes, which is a big thing for me. Gutted to lose Paul McGinn, our captain. Gutted to lose Stephen O'Donnell, our vice captain. But you know, when asking that question to Lennon, with probably what comes in the build up to the game of football, you guys won't be surprised to see that he kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, yeah, no problem at all, so that's fine.
Stuart, just going back to what you were saying there, talking about being humble, I wouldn't say that it would be mudslinging at Rangers to say they look vulnerable at the moment. Do you feel that? Do you feel that there is a real chance to get at them on Sunday?
I believe that all the time. I genuinely do. As I already mentioned, that we played them earlier in the season before the kind of mass hysteria, and I believed there was an opportunity to try and win the game of football. You see the latter stages of that game, we were the team in the front foot, we were the team that was trying to get back level at that point. We were a bit frustrated on the day that there was 2 minutes added time, because we felt that, as I say, we were in the ascendancy. I think there was maybe something in the regions of about 10 substitutes came on the pitch that day, and a number of other things, an injury and stuff like that. We managed to get 2 minutes, which is a different conversation altogether, but I think that tells you that we were trying to win that game as well. So I don't see a greater opportunity than any time that we've played them before. I understand that there is a slightly different narrative with Rangers at this time that we play against them, but it doesn't change your mindset and our focus.
In terms of your form, you could be hardly coming here much better. Do you feel that it's almost you've made a good start to the season? You won on Sunday, it's a great start.
Yeah, listen, I believe we're punching above our weight. You know, for where we're sitting, I don't really look at the league position. What I look at is, and I said this after the game on Wednesday, is we've got 16 points at this minute in time, which I think is a very, very good start to the season. And I did say way back at the start of the season in the group stages of this competition, even though there were a couple of performances that we felt could have been better, that our angle was always to try and get as far as we possibly could in this competition, because we know how much and excitement that can generate for a club like Motherwell. So we feel we're in a good position. I would always argue that I think we could have had one or two better performances, maybe a few points, but in general, if I sit here in front of you, I'm telling you that I believe we're doing well. I think we're being resilient. I don't think it was our greatest performance on Wednesday, but I thought we showed a real grit, determination and certainly a resilience within the game from getting sort of pegged back level. Again, real trust in our players, real trust in what we're kind of trying to do. And I think the biggest resilience that we've shown this season is I'm probably sitting with 8 senior players, first team players that I could make a real case for starting in my team on Sunday that haven't been available since the start of the season, some of them, and obviously the ones that we've lost recently, but we've not felt sorry for ourselves. We've just continued to try and find a formula, including asking the likes of young Ewan Wilson to move for left wing back and go and play in the middle of the park against Dundee United, Marvin Coletta coming in for his second senior start, first one was against Celtic. So there's a number of good stories in there, and we're just trying to kind of ride that crest with the wave just to make sure that that's something that continues for us.
Just on Lennon, I mean, when the club's trying to sell this club to younger players and things like that, have an academy graduate starting in an environment like this, 18, how much does it help sell the story, I suppose, of this club and what you're trying to do?
I hope massively. It's really important to me personally, but it's really important to the football club. I know you're fed up hearing me say it, but none of this is for effect. It's because it's what I genuinely believe in, and it's also the thing, you know, off the back of the report that we've spoke about for so long, that's been out for the last number of weeks. There are ways that football clubs can try and help that situation. Before that report came out, long before it was sort of discussed, I have a link with my chief executive, the hierarchy at this football club, that's kind of the vision that we have here, to try and make sure that we develop players and we try and sell them. It's as simple as that. Using Lennon as an example of that, using Ewan Wilson, who I feel sometimes flies under the radar for what he's done this season. They're unbelievable examples for me to hopefully try and attract the best potential in the country to Motherwell's academy, but also in the knowledge and the belief that there's an environment here where we'll progress players through and we'll give them a chance, we'll give them an opportunity.
The players here have talked about sort of a core leadership group being in the dressing room. How does that sort of work and sort of build up to games and sort of unique circumstances you find yourself in with the captain and the vice captain?
Yeah, well, it's probably something that I've done for years since actually I first came into management a number of years ago. It's something that I've done that there's not one captain, there is a leadership group. Of that leadership group, there's all different sizes and shapes and experiences and personalities, and it's important because I feel that role is all encompassing now. It's not just one person that leads that. Same way, it's not just a football manager. You have a lot of other football people and a football structure run about that. But probably for moments like this where we've lost our captain and our vice captain, I'm kind of glad that I've done it. It's the first time I think I've been backed in a corner that way, that I've lost both. And probably the reason why I do it is for such occasion, that you have leadership from within, but that's always met with respect from, you know, nobody's challenging the captain. It's just that it's that extra bit of support. Paul McGinn, as much as he's not able to play on Sunday, Stephen won't play on Sunday, they'll still be a big help to a lot of the younger players and the guys that are less experienced to help try and kind of coax them through the next couple of days and leading into the match.
You have players, Stuart, that have played at the National Stadium before, and maybe this is their first time. How key is that blend going into Sunday? Yeah, and it's very similar to playing at places like Ibrox and Parkhead. That's how I would say it as well, because sometimes you can get that sort of wow factor. Sometimes that atmosphere and that noise can get the better of people. So the Hampden one, maybe it helps us that we've played there already this season, but I would always lean on that experience from the senior players. You know, you talk about somebody like Liam Gordon, for example, who, one of the biggest stories in Scottish football in recent years for me was that cup double, of which he was a pillar of that. So you want some of his experience in there. Guys like Andy Halliday have played at the National Stadium numerous times, so you look for that experience from them. But sometimes you look for the lack of fear for the guys that have never experienced it as well. Just that raw enthusiasm that young players can bring into it as well. So again, going back to it, it's just a blend, and we try and see if we can get as much out of it as possible. You mentioned that you said to the players, let's try and get as far as we can in this competition. Was Hampden the goal, though, to get to at least a semi-final? Yeah, but you know, you've got to do that in small steps. I'm an unbelievably ambitious person. I want to try and maximise every opportunity that's put in front of me. We try and drill that into the players as well. So again, I would never sit here in the summer and tell you that it's Hampden, but of course that has to be the thought process. The fact that this club has done it before, getting to Hampden, you want to try and replicate that. And obviously 1991's a massive year for this football club. I'm sorry to keep going back to it, but you have to draw on these memories, and there's plenty of supporters that will be along there on Sunday that have that still in their mind, and they want to try and experience that type of thing again. We'll walk before we can run, but I'm a huge believer in trying to draw in elements of history within your football club as well, and we'll try and draw into everything that we possibly can. How big a game is this, Stuart, for yourself, for the club, and for the time? It's huge. It goes without saying. But I will say, like I said at the very start of the press conference, that every game's massive to us. You know, we spoke about not even considering Sunday on Wednesday and making sure that we got our focus right on that. I think that's the only reason we won the game on Wednesday. But as I say, when you're doing well and you're picking up points and you're going to run the cup, you have to just keep trying to chalk each one off and try and prepare the way that we do. We literally don't miss a beat. The players will spend a lot of time analysing Rangers again. We'll spend as much time in the pitch as we possibly can. So massive game, but the way they get there is by no cutting any
any corners and making sure you go through the measures that you always do for each game.
There's a massive excitement of those buses leaving from here, there's thousands of tickets sold, it's huge for the fans, isn't it? It's a great occasion.
Without a doubt, yeah, and I'm delighted for that. I'm absolutely over the moon with the support that the local area has given us. Quarter final, as I said, was a kind of special night here for us, and hopefully we can try and give the supporters something back again on Sunday. That's what we'll look towards.
How's the squad?
Just as I've said there, Liam Gordon comes in to the squad into contention, Tony Watt comes into the squad, and Stephen O'Donnell goes out.